Now you log into Scoutbook using your My Scouting username and password. Scoutbook should already know that you're a registered member Merit Badge Counselor if you are registered. If you're not registered with your council as a Merit Badge Counselor, contact your council and find out how to register as a Merit Badge Counselor. Within 24 to 48 hours after registering as a Merit Badge Counselor, your information should be in Scoutbook so that Scoutbook can handle you as a Merit Badge Counselor. Now, once you log into Scoutbook using your My Scouting user ID and password, you should see a screen similar to this. What you want to do is click on My Dashboard, and it'll bring up this screen here. Now, as a Merit Badge Counselor, you can counsel any of the badges that you've been approved by your council to counsel. First thing you need to do in Scoutbook is to make sure that you're connected to the scouts or scouts that you wish to counsel for the Merit Badge. Now you can do a couple of things to do that. The first thing is contact the troop the scout is in and ask the troop leaders to connect you as a Merit Badge Counselor. We have other videos for troop leaders on how they can connect you as a Merit Badge Counselor. The other option is, instead of doing that, you can connect to the scout yourself. When you connect to the scout, the leaders in the troop will be notified, and also the parents of the scout will be notified. So you're not connecting to them in secret. So to connect to a scout as a Merit Badge Counselor, you would click on My Account, and then you would click on My Connections. This page lists all the connections that you have with all the scouts that you have. Now, to add a new scout connection as a Merit Badge Counselor, click on the Add button. You'll then get a screen that looks like this. You need to know the scout's member ID. Now, you can find the member ID from the troop that the scout is in. Just ask the leaders for the member ID. You need the member ID of the scout and their last name. After you click on the Add button, you will receive a screen like this, and what you're going to need is the scout's member ID and their last name. Then you click Search, and it'll find the scout. Then it'll list all of the merit badges that you are approved to counsel. Select the merit badge that you wish to counsel with this scout, and then click on Connect. And that will connect you to the scout as a merit badge counselor. And the only visibility you're going to have is the merit badge page, the requirement page for that scout. You won't be able to see any of their personal information or anything like that. The only thing you're going to see is for that scout is the merit badge page for that scout. So after it connects you, it'll return you to this page, and you can find the scout, and it'll say that you're connected for that merit badge. So at this point, you can go back to your dashboard, and this little square on the top of the page is where you get to your dashboard. So you click on that, and it returns you to your dashboard. When you scroll down as a merit badge counselor, you're going to find a section that says My Merit Badge Counseling. And this is where you're going to work as a merit badge counselor for the different scouts. So there's a first section here is quick entry. You can enter the badge requirements, individual badge requirements for the scout, or you can sign the entire badge off for the scout. So if you wanted to do merit badge requirements, you would click on that, and then you would click on choosing one of the merit badges that you're approved to counsel. So in this case, it's movie making. It'll then bring up all of the requirements for the badge at the current version of the badge. If you're working on a previous version of the badge, you just select the previous version and the requirements for that will come up. So it'll default to the current version of the badge. You then will have a list of all of the scouts that you are connected to as a merit badge counselor for that badge. In this case, we've only connected to one. But if I had 20, it would list all 20 of them. You would select the scout or scouts that you want to credit for the requirements, and then you would select a date on for when they have completed that requirement and you're signing them off. So doing this, you're signing off that requirement. And then you'd pick whichever requirements they have been approved for by you, and then you click Save. That's all there is to signing off on requirements. So at that point, you have signed off on those requirements. If you have selected all of them, or when they get to all of them, it will show the badge as being signed off by the merit badge counselor. So let's go back to our dashboard. Again, that little square up there. Scroll down, and we looked at signing the individual requirements. Signing a completed badge is similar. You click on that, and that would actually allow you to skip the whole signing off on requirements. You would go to the badge. You would put in the date that the person completed the badge, and then you would, again, when you put in the badge itself, select the badge, it'll list all of the scouts that you're connected to for that badge. In this case, it's just one. We would select that person and then select Save. When we do that, it signs off for the badge itself. So then we can go back to the menu again and the dashboard, and we can look and see, well, did it really do what we thought it was going to do? And that is, we can look at the individual badge requirements for the person. So we can go into movie making, we can go into the scout, and now it's going to bring up the page that the Scoutmaster would see. Now this is what we've done so far. We have approved this requirement and this requirement and this and this. Everything with a blue check mark is where we selected previously when we approved the requirements. It says underneath it, counselor approved on the date that we approved it. And it says that for each of the requirements. Now we also decided to use the other menu, which allowed us to sign off on the entire badge without having to check all the requirements. When we did that, it said that the badge was earned. That means that the merit badge counselor is signed off on the badge. And it says here, counselor approved, and it has your name on it. This is the date that you put in for the approval date of the badge. Now, at this point, the merit badge has been approved by you, but it hasn't been approved by the troop. Well, actually, the troop in Scoutbook approves it, but it's not really an approval. It's really, as we know with the blue cards, what it is the Scoutmaster has met with the scout and has acknowledged the fact that it's been signed off by the merit badge counselor. And then they go and buy the badge. Well, to buy the badge, it has to be marked approved. And Scoutbook doesn't automatically mark it approved, because if they did, then it's a way of circumventing that last Scoutmaster conference that National wants to happen. So instead of marking it approved, it marks it earned. So then the Scoutmaster still has to talk to the Scout. The Scoutmaster or his designee, his or her designee, then needs to go into Scoutbook and mark the badge approved. They can also go into Internet Advancement and mark the badge approved. They don't have to use Scoutbook if they don't normally use it, but they do have to mark the badge approved before it shows up on the advancement report that they bring to the Scout shop. Now, let's say you have a Scout that says, well, I would like to have a blue card to show my leader that you have signed off. So you can print a blue card at any time by going here or in the actual the dashboard. There is an option to print blue cards here as well. So you can print it at any time during the process. If the badge has not been earned, when the blue card is printed, all of the different requirements that you have signed off on will show up on the blue card. If the badge itself has been approved by you, then it shows your signature on the blue card. So let's print the blue card out for this Scout. So when you click print blue card, it gives you an option to make changes, but let's just go with the defaults, which is this Scout and the movie making merit badge. If you have an option to print it on blank paper, which prints all the detail of the blue card, or not, if you don't, then they have to go to the Scout shop and buy a form that the Scout shop has that they can print on. So I normally just by default click on that, and then you click on the badge that you wish, the Scouts and the badge that you wish to print, and then you click print blue card. It comes down as a PDF file. We can open this on Adobe Acrobat Reader and see what it looks like, but this is something that you can send to the Scout or the parent to show that you have signed off. And I'll zoom in on it so you can read it. So it shows the name of the merit badge, your name and address and phone number, and then the Scout applicant's record. So notice that it fills all these in for you. It puts your signature on the card where you need to have your signature on the card as the merit badge counselor. And you can then send this PDF to the Scout. There's the first page, and if you flip it down, you scroll down, on the second page it actually has the merit badge. So it shows the Scout name and the troop they're in, now if the unit leader had signed it in Scoutbook, it would show their name here. Otherwise it just leaves it blank, and you can send that to the unit. Now, just for your information, you don't have to actually do this part, but if we go back to the page where it shows here the requirements, there's a place here for the initial unit leader signature. Now that's not your signature, so you don't want to go in there and touch this. This is for when the leader of the unit initially signs the blue card. So this is an ability for us to put that name of whoever it was in the unit that signed the blue card initially before the Scout ever saw you on the card. That's all this is for. So as a merit badge counselor, you wouldn't touch that. Just make sure that when you're dealing with a Scout, that they have talked to their Scoutmaster and they have had that initial discussion. Okay, so after you've done all of that, and you've got the blue card, you're all done with the badge, and the Scout's all done. Now, the advantage of using this in Scoutbook is This record is in Scoutbook and it's in the Amazon cloud, so it's there for forever. As long as you're connected to the Scout, you can go in and print a blue card for them, or you can go in there and add requirements and sign off on requirements. You add any time you want for that Scout. You can always click on the edit merit badge and go into that Scout's record in Scoutbook and look at that merit badge and see if you need to add something. I've had Scouts come back to me 2 years after they started the badge saying, oh, Mr. Nelson, I'd like to finish the badge. And so all the records there, and I don't have to go try to find my blue card file and Scout and all that kind of stuff. It's all there already for you. Here's where you can print blue cards from this menu. And here's where you can send a message to the Scout. So if you want to send a message to the Scout, you would click on that menu item, then click on the merit badge, and then click on the Scout. And then you can put in the message you want to send to the Scout. Anything you send to the Scout will be copied to the parent. It's a thing that Scoutbook automatically does. If the parent doesn't have an email address in Scoutbook, it won't let you send a message to the Scout. So if the Scout has an email address in Scoutbook, it will send to the Scout and to the parent. So that's just a way of you communicating to the Scout. I do this all the time to remind Scouts that I still have an open merit badge for them and do they want to continue working. Normally I also send them a report of what requirements still need to be done. Now how do I get that report? Well, it's back in this dashboard. If you scroll down to your section, there is a thing here that says merit badges in progress, merit badge counselor view. And let me go in and make this merit badge now back in process. Let's get rid of the completion date. I can do that by clicking on the badge and on the Scout. And here's that earn date. I can get rid of that by backing over the date, backing over the counselor approved, and then clicking save. Now this gets rid of this final check mark that we did. So now it says, it no longer says completed or earned. It says percent complete, gives a total percentage of how far the progress has been for the badge. So this badge now is in process, and it's just the requirements that we previously approved that are in there. So going back to this is a handy icon. It gets you right back to that dashboard. We go back there. Now we can do this report. You would select the badge in the report that you want to report on. You get this menu, select the badge itself, and then it'll list all of the Scouts, in this case just one, that are taking the badge, and you can go in and select the Scouts that you want the report for. Now you have some options here. You can include if it's in process only, or the unit has approved but the merit badge counselor has not approved, or not unit approved but merit badge counselor approved, or unit approved and merit badge counselor approved. And you can print all. I give you all options. So we'll leave it at all just so that you can see the sections. And then you can sort it by the Scout's name or completion date, or by the unit number, depending on, if you have a lot of Scouts that you're doing this for. You can include the parent's email address or not on the report, and then you can run. Then you would click run, it would run the report. So this is what the report looks like. We only have the one scout, and that scout is still in process with the badge. It shows which requirements still have to be done, which is really what the scout is interested in, right? If you're going to send them a report, you don't want to say, well, you did these requirements, and then they have to go look up in the requirement list what it is they still have to do. This actually tells them exactly what they still have to do. And it's saying you need to do 1, 2, and of requirement 2, you need to do 2B and 2C. This could be 2B or 2C. And then they need to do requirement 4. So this tells them what it is they need to do for movie making, and it gives the scout's name, and it gives the troop that they're in and their member ID. So it gives you all the information you're going to need. It also gives it's something that you can give to the scout. You can save this as a PDF file and then send it to the scout. You can save it as a comma separated value file if it's going to be a lot of scouts and you like Excel and you want to work with them in Excel somehow. So if you want it as a comma separated value file that can go into Excel, you can do that. Now these are the different sections. That's in process because we only had one scout and they were in process with the badge. If we had any completed but not Merit Badge Counselor approved, it would show up here. If the Merit Badge Counselor approved the badge, it would show up here. And all completed badges that the troop has also completed shows up here. It gives you the dates that they were completed and the date the unit approved the badge here. So it's good information, especially if you have a lot of scouts that you work with and maybe you have a lot of connections that you have. So going back to our dashboard, that's the last item in this group of Merit Badge options for you as a Merit Badge Counselor. This is a great tool that allows you to do a lot of work with the scouts that you work with. One other thing I wanted to show you, and that's how do you disconnect from a scout. Let's say you're all completely done with the scout. You can click on My Account and go back to My Connections, and from there all the scouts that you're connected to are listed there, and there's an X by the scout's name. If you click on the X, it'll remove the connection, so you don't have to have a ton of scouts that you're connected to all the time. Well, I hope this gives you some idea of what you can do as a Merit Badge Counselor with Scoutbook. I have used it extensively with the Merit Badge classes that I teach, and I have found this very productive and very useful, especially when you get a scout that comes in after the fact, a year or so later, and asks, well, what do I still need to do? I lost my record. So you can just go right in there. By the way, anything that you see in that section for the Merit Badge, the scout sees. If they have an account to Scoutbook, they'll see that listing of requirements. So will the unit leaders, and so will the parents. And they see it as soon as you mark it. So you can mark it and then tell them, go look in Scoutbook, you'll see it. Normally what I do is after the session, I will send that report to the parent and to the scout to tell them, well, this is what you have left to do, or I'll send them the blue card if they're all already done. You can do this all at the comfort of your own home. You don't have to go running around and play around with paper. So it's very useful, and I hope you found this video useful as well.